Every injuries.
Yeah.
The wrists from the cuffs.
No.
Oh. How did that happen? How did that happen?
Sorry.
How did that happen?
Oh, is this the interview?
That was a question. The injuries on your fingers. What happened there?
You know, I taught secondary kids for 20 years. 15 of those were all boys. There's nothing you can't tell me about men and boys. And that is a performance designed to, I don't know, elicit sympathy or to have us believe that there's something really wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him.
It had taken police 3 weeks to find him. His DNA was not on their databases, but his father's was. High up on a hill with panoramic views, this was a beauty spot as far away from danger as anyone could imagine. Certainly sisters Bibaa Henry and Nicole Smallman thought so. They had chosen the highest point in Friant Country Park as a perfectly safe place under COVID lockdown rules to stage a small birthday party for Bibaa in June last year.
This horrific case took place in June of 2020, right when the COVID-19 pandemic was considered to be at its worst in many parts of the world. Because of this, just about everything was out of the ordinary. Social gatherings and big parties were obviously out of question, but sisters Bibaa Henry and Nicole Smallman got creative and found a way to celebrate a little bit of joy while still staying safe and socially distant. It was Bibaa's birthday, and Nicole and a couple of close friends didn't want the occasion to go without Bibaa getting a chance to feel celebrated and special. So they found this special spot far away from everyone else. It was a simple party, complete with fairy lights, snacks, and just enjoying each other's company. And as you can see from the pictures, it looked like a lovely time.
And as the summer evening neared midnight, the guests drifted away, leaving the two women wearing fairy lights, dancing to music under the night sky. But somewhere in the park lurked a complete stranger.
The women didn't know that this stranger was out there, or that he had been watching them. They also didn't know that he had made a deal with the devil. This man was 18-year-old Daniel Hussein, and he was a monster who was looking for prey.
He'd left his father's address at around 8:45 that evening to enter the park through a different entrance. He lay in wait for 4 hours. He was there to kill. The 18-year-old had written out a demonic pact and signed it in his own blood.
This pact that Daniel made with the devil is enough to literally send a shiver down your spine. He agreed to perform 6 sacrifices to the devil himself every 6 months. These sacrifices would only involve women victims. He believed that if he fulfilled this agreement, he would receive wealth and power. More specifically, he thought he would win the Mega Millions jackpot.
He is conscious, calculating, and trying to work through how to achieve what he sees as being his objectives. And so there is a logic to his thinking in that respect. What is illogical, which is unreal, bizarre, aberrant, is the sense that he believes that he is doing this through some deal with demonic characters.
Detectives say that Nicole and Bibaa were extremely vulnerable because they were distracted, did not think anyone else was there, and they were very eye-catching due to the fairy lights they were using.
This was the last photo of the women still alive, taken by Nicole's iPhone. The Old Bailey was told that one can see both women appear to glance to their left. The time was 13 minutes past 1 on the morning of June the 6th.
What happened next is nothing short of an absolute nightmare. It was gory, vicious, and incredibly cruel. The last moments of these women's lives were absolutely filled with terror as Daniel ambushed them and viciously started attacking them both with a blade. They were reported missing by their families the following day after nobody heard from them. Tragically, it was also their loved ones who would end up discovering their bodies.
I don't need to detail the ferocity of the attack. Needless to say, it was, in the prosecution's words, shocking savagery. The sisters stood no chance. Their bodies were dragged into the undergrowth, only to be found by a search party of friends and family a day and a half later.
Luckily, Daniel left no shortage of evidence behind at the scene.
The killer had left a trail of blood, DNA, a knife, and a pair of latex gloves. CCTV shows Hussein returning to his father's house at around 4 a.m, no trousers, jacket round his waist, and with an injured right hand tucked inside.
The fact that he also went to the hospital for treatment for the wounds he sustained during the attack made him stand out even more to the cops.
The following day, he was at a hospital's A&E to seek treatment for slashes to his hand during the attack. The wounds from his own knife required stitches. He told his dad he'd been robbed.
Cops say that if it weren't for those serious injuries, he very well could have become a serial killer.
The weapon itself, the trial concluded, was from a block of knives bought by Hussein in an Asda store. Being 18 meant all he had to show was a passport with proof of age for the purchase to be approved. No questions asked.
And yet, this is someone who had a history of mental health problems and had even been referred to the anti-terror prevention program for his extremist views.
I think he went in October 2017, came out May 2018. During that time, he received support from social services, health, his own school, and the Prevent and Channel program. And even after he was released, he went through a 6-month and a 12-month check again, really, to make sure things were okay and nothing was seen.
Trained professionals might not have seen the signs that this man was a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode, but those that knew him did.
Those who went to school with Daniel Hussein have told Channel 4 News how his extreme views began to emerge in class from the age of 12.
We knew him to be a Satanist. He had a sinister energy about him.
And that's not all they said.
Daniel was a very jealous person. He stalked my friend to the point where she'd seen him while walking home.
He would shout out dark remarks. History was Heil Hitler. Religious education was I worship the devil. He would often say he would kill you.
Take a look at this footage of when Daniel was arrested and taken into custody while at his parents' house. He is surprisingly very emotionless.
That's it. That's it.
Take time for everybody.
You're under arrest. Come out. Come out the address. Keep walking towards me. Keep walking towards me. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Hands on your head. Stay where you are. Face me. Hands on your head. Stay where you are. You're under arrest, all right? Yeah, so give it to face the car. Yeah? Yeah.
He was quickly arrested and brought into custody where he would be questioned.
It had taken police 3 weeks to find him. His DNA was not on their databases, but his father's was.
Because of this, the cops were able to match his DNA to DNA at the crime scene.
Have the injuries?
Yeah.
The wrists from the cuts?
No.
Oh. Like that? How did that happen?
Sorry?
How did that happen?
Is this the interview?
That was the question. The injuries on your fingers. What happened there?
But he just stood there in silence like he was confused or didn't know what they were asking. Then he started looking down at his hands like it was his first time noticing that his fingers were injured.
Okay, don't worry.
I was getting
It seems as if he was about to try to make up a story, but was cut off or decided against it. He then goes back to standing stoically, at times with his eyes closed shut like he's trying to process everything that is happening. He knows that the game is up and his luck has run out.
Any medical conditions? Asthma, diabetes, blood pressure, heart conditions, anything like that? No.
This was an
You don't need to be questioned the rest of them when comes into custody. So we just listen to what's
your question.
you will be interviewed later. And what this is at the time, it's you just being booked in. Any mental health issues? Any mental health issues? Like, have you ever tried to harm yourself? How do you feel right now?
Danielle seems to be trying to play the part of a scared teenager who doesn't know what's going on.
I'm really confused and scared. But you don't know what's going on.
But is anyone going to buy it?
In custody, the teenager said he was confused and scared, and later added he was autistic. Yet psychiatric analysis would declare him fit to stand trial.
Danielle might have been hoping to get declared mentally insane so that he either wouldn't be found fit to stand trial, or so that he would be sent off to a mental institution instead of prison. But this didn't work out for him.
He went through significant consultation with mental health workers in the police station, through the trial with his defence team, and by a number of people, and they all said he is fit to stand trial.
This was good news for the girls' family because it meant that they were a step closer to getting justice for Bibaa and Nicole.
Outside the Old Bailey, the women's mother had nothing but praise for the detectives involved in the murder investigation.
The girl's mother, Mina Smallman, has been vocal throughout the investigation. While she was happy to hear about this update in the case, there was still work to be done. She wouldn't be able to rest until she also saw the man who killed her daughters convicted and given the most severe sentence possible.
This is an unbelievable day for us, but it's the first, and there are 2 more battles to go. But today we remember our girls as the wonderful, strong women they were. And we hope that some good will come out of this horrible story.
While Mina Smallman was not one to be critical of the way that the cops handled this horrific case, there were some that were. Remember, it was not the cops that ultimately found the girls' bodies, but a search party that was organized and carried out.
But the end of this trial is by no means the whole story. The way the Met Police responded to reports of the women going missing in the first 36 hours has been under investigation. Police say the first call from worried friends was late Saturday evening at 9 p.m. Nicola's boyfriend Adam Stone told the Old Bailey he later got a call cancelling a police visit to Bibaa Henry's flat.
So after loved ones first reported the girls missing, cops had said that they would come to Bibaa's flat to get a photo of her. This was to help them with the search, but they never ended up coming. Then it was reportedly not until noon of the next day, after the girls had been reported missing, that the cops ended up coming out to the park to search for them. At that point, friends and family had already been out there for hours. The bodies were found while the cops were still on the way over.
It's not great, and I, my heart goes out to Adam Stone. He gave evidence, and I've listened to that 909 call, and it wasn't played out in court. It's just too distressing, and for him to find the bodies, I am terribly sorry for that, but it's something which the police's response is under investigation now.
Meanwhile, now that Danielle had been found mentally competent, the trial against him could begin. It officially began on June 9th of 2021 at the Old Bailey. During the trial, the prosecutor told the jury that only someone who believed that an agreement with the devil would work could believe that there was any part of him that was innocent. Ultimately, the jury agreed and convicted him on July 6th of 2021. In October of the same year, it was Mrs. Justice Whipple that ultimately handed down his sentence. Family and friends of the victims waited anxiously, all hoping that he would be given the most severe sentence possible. The sentence he received was life imprisonment with a minimum of 35 years. That means he does get a chance at parole, which could be as soon as July 20th, 2055. While that might not sound all that soon to you, there are a lot of people who feel that it is, and that he doesn't deserve to ever get out of prison. Still, those that are grieving the loss of these 2 women can rest assured that for now, their killer is locked up behind bars where he belongs.
I hope that knowing he will now spend many years behind bars, this will bring a small degree of comfort to Bibaa and Nicole's loved ones. This has been a shocking and chilling case, and I know the investigation will stay with all of us involved for a very long time.
Following the sentence, Bibaa and Nicole's loved ones released a statement. In it, they condemned their killer's senselessly evil action.
Daniel Hussein went out that night with the intention of killing in order to satisfy his bizarre fantasies under the deluded belief he would be rewarded with financial prosperity. His wicked acts have cut short the lives of 2 completely innocent women who were simply celebrating a birthday, Bibaa's birthday. The senselessness of Hussein's actions has made it all the more difficult for Bibaa and Nicole's loved ones to come to terms with their loss.
Mina Smallman expressed her gratitude that justice was served for her girls. She also called out the fact that the killer's defense had suggested that Danielle's young age should be considered, and that he deserved a lesser sentence because of this. After all, even a little child knows that it's wrong to brutally kill two innocent people. And at 18 years old, Danielle surely knew this too.
There'll be no celebrations here, but justice has been done. But I think we do need to review that kind of separation. When is someone an adult? And I think it's very disrespectful to say that children can't tell the difference between good and evil. So that's something else I will be campaigning about. But today we're celebrating what is wonderful about the Metropolitan Police.
Mina, an experienced teacher, also called him out for supposedly pretending to have something mentally wrong with him. She said that this was just his attempt at trying to manipulate the jury and avoid facing the consequences of his actions.
You know, I taught secondary kids for 20 years. 15 of those were all boys. There's nothing you can't tell me about men and boys. And that is a performance designed to, I don't know, elicit sympathy or to have us believe that there's something really wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him.
In the weeks and months following Bibaa and Nicole's death, some people close to the girls criticized the media's response or lack of response to this whole case. There are some that have said that this case hasn't gotten nearly the level of attention that it deserves. Some people have blamed racism on this, saying that if Bibaa and Nicole were both white, more people would have cared about it and talked about their murders. This is something that Mina Smallman also believes and thinks that racism could have also played a role in why it took the cops so long to go searching for the girls. But the story doesn't end here because there is another incredibly disturbing detail still to go. And it yet again involves the misconduct of the cops. As if to add further insult to injury, you'll never believe what the cops did after Bibaa and Nicole's bodies were found. Not one, but two cops took what was referred to as inappropriate pictures of the girls' bodies. It was later revealed that they actually took selfies next to their bodies. Can you imagine doing something so heartless and cruel? These girls were both brutally murdered, and these cops, Denise Jafer and Jamie Lewis, took pictures next to them like it was all some sort of joke. And that's not even all they did. They later shared the selfies in a WhatsApp group chat with 6 other officers, none of which reported this horrific behavior. About a month later, both officers were charged with misconduct for not only interfering with the crime scene, but also causing even greater distress to the family members and friends of the victims. They both pleaded guilty and received 2 years and 9 months behind bars, much to the relief of Mina and the girls' other loved ones. Meanwhile, Mina is still dedicated to honoring her daughter's lives and says that she will not waste any of her life hating Danielle for what he did and all of the pain he caused. She pointed out that after all, while in prison, he will be getting everything he deserves. Do you think 2 years and 9 months was a fair sentence for the officers that took the selfies with these women's bodies, or did they deserve more? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.